Hey everyone, welcome back to another session of painting Archie the Corgi. Today we are working on his backside and chest. There's lots of layering that's happening here today. I mixed up, I think, 5 different shades of that yellow ochre and a little bit of brown and also a little bit of white to make the lighter areas so that I could make sure that I got all the different highlights and shadows that Archie actually has on his bum area. In some cases, I put the lighter color first and then went back over it with the darker colors. And in other cases, I put the darker color first and then went back over it with the lighter colors. Just really depends on the kind of effect you want to get. I usually do the darkest colors last, however. So here I'm putting in a shadow where his leg creases and a darker shadow behind his ear. The other section I worked on today was Archie's chest. I used a lot longer strokes on this part because Archie's chest fur is quite long and fluffy. I started with a couple of different shades of gray to make a bunch of lines, and then I went over it again with some white afterwards to kind of tone it down a little bit. I also used a darker gray up on the side there because that area is kind of in shadow. And then I interspersed it with some lighter grays and eventually again with some white again. It was surprisingly challenging to work with the white. I actually thought it would be a little bit easier and would show up a little bit more nicely, but I really had to play around with the consistency of the white paint to make sure it spread the way I wanted it to, so that it could give that effect like he was fluffy. The section underneath Archie's chin was a unique challenge because at first it just looked like I was adding more hair to the section below. But in the photo I used, it was a very clear distinction that he had kind of a fluffy spot under his chin and another fluffy spot underneath that. So what I ended up doing was using some heavy white near the ends of the hairs to really emphasize the different areas. Thanks for joining me again for another pet portrait. I hope you tune in again next time. We'll be working on Archie's face, the most important part.